Hey everybody, it's Leslie with the Plaid Poodle. Welcome back for another installment to the 12 Weeks of Christmas series. Today we're going to make a fun little treat bag. Let me turn my camera around. It's this little penguin treat box. I thought it would be the perfect size to insert a gift card and then maybe a few little small candies to go with that, or just the gift card would be fine. Make sure you're signed up for my 12 Weeks of Christmas emails, and to do that I'll put the link in the description below the video if you haven't already signed up for that. Subscribers will receive the full color PDFs in their email boxes each week. When the holidays are over, my Tuesday tutorials will resume, and those are a free project tutorial every Tuesday. So make sure you sign up for that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like what you see, go ahead and click on that too. We'd love to have you join our community. Okay, to start off with the box, it's a pretty simple little project to make, and you can make two boxes out of an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of cardstock. So you're going to start out with, this is basic black. I'm going to get my cheat sheet out here, and this is something you'll receive with the PDF. You can also find the PDF over on my blog, theplaidpoodle.com. Okay, so I've got a piece of 8.5 by 4 inch basic black cardstock, and this is going to be our box. We're going to score that at 1 inch, 3 3/4 inches, 4 3/4 inches, and 7.5. And then turn it 1/2 turn and 1 inch on this 4 inch side. Okay, so there is your box base. Then we're going to trim it out. First of all, we're going to take this little square section. We're going to just cut on those score lines and remove this completely. Then we're going to cut up on these score lines. This is going to make our tab to close the box at the bottom. And then also on this one, we're going to cut up on that score line. So you've got these little tabs and the folds. And then I like to trim out my tabs a little bit, just kind of trim off a little bit off the edges, and that kind of helps your box close up a little easier and more square. Okay, now to close our box, I'm going to use some tear and tape adhesive. It is very strong and sturdy, but first let's go ahead and fold on these score lines. Okay, so I am going to put a piece of the tear and tape on this tab, and then on this one, and then I think I'm going to add one more. Yes, I am going to add one more. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm going to put one more bit on this back side. This is just overkill to make sure my box sides stay shut. As long as you have your adhesive here and here, I think you'll be okay. Okay, I am going to remove the paper backing. I cannot believe that Christmas is 4 weeks away. We are already in week 8 of our, I'm going to leave these open and just close my my sides. I grabbed too quickly. Didn't want it to grab that quickly. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to line this up. Remember, we have adhesive on the edges of these sides. Okay, so there's our box, and then I can fold in the tabs in the back. And then you can sometimes take your bone folder and kind of work that. Okay. So I like to keep my creases to the back, so the folds to the back. So this is a clean fold, clean fold, clean fold, if that makes sense. But since we're covering it up with our die cuts, it probably doesn't matter that much which side you use as the front of your box. But that's what I usually do in general. Okay, I have used the Framed Florets dies. These are a brand new set of dies that coordinate with the Framed Florets stamp set. And again, I will list all the products I'm using today in the description below. But I'm not using the stamp set. I'm just using the dies. I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to use this one. And this will make our cute little penguin. I just thought that this framelit was perfect to be his little little flappers. So when you use this die, I used a piece of basic black cardstock, and all these measurements will be on the PDF. 3 3/4 by 5" piece of basic black. When you use this die, you will actually get 2 pieces, and we're going to use both pieces in our penguin, for our penguin. So we're going to set those aside, and then I'm going to cut a basic white oval using this one. You will get 2 pieces with this as well. You will get this little frame and then the little oval in the middle. But we're not going to use the frame. We're just going to use that little white oval. So you can set this aside for another project or pitch it if you're brave enough to do that. Okay, so to assemble the box, we're going to adhere our this pretty frame. I don't know what to call it. And I've put this bottom portion kind of sticking off the bottom of the box. We're going to cut that off. But I wanted the little sides to be kind of in the middle of the box for our little penguins. I guess they'd be wings. Would they be wings? So to do that, I'm just going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue. Another good adhesive to use for this kind of thing would be our adhesive sheets. That would kind of turn it into a sticker. However, we don't need the whole thing to stick to our box. We just need that center part to stick to our box, if that makes sense. So that's why I use the multi-purpose liquid glue. And this will all dry clear if there's any excess. I just want to make sure it's centered and those little wings are even. Such a pretty frame. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is adhere the black oval that comes out from the center of this when we die cut this out. My dog is nesting over in her bed. If you hear something weird, that is my dog being weird. She likes to scratch and scratch and scratch until she finds her most perfect spot in her bed in my office here. Okay, I'm going to center this on our frame. So there we go. That's the base of our penguin. Make sure that that is centered. That's why I kind of like to use that multi-purpose liquid glue, because it lets you kind of have a second to get everything where it needs to be. Okay, now you'll notice on my penguin I have a little heart shape on the top, and to do that I used the Heart Punch from Stampin' Up, and I took this basic white bundle or oval, and I just kind of stuck it in instead of this way, which would be how you would normally do it. I'm going to stick that oval kind of in there as far as it'll go, centered there, and then I'm going to punch it, and that creates the little little heart shape for the face. So we are going to glue that now to the center of our box. And I'm leaving some room at the top for our little bow. And then for the little eyes, I did all of this ahead of time. I'm going to show you how I came up with the nose and the little, his little web feet, or her little web feet. Basically, these are all punches that I used. So, the two eyes I used a 1/2 inch punch. Stampin' Up! Has retired their 1/2 inch punch, but if you could find a die or another 1/2 inch circle punch, that's what I used for the eyes. And of course I'm going to glue them right on there. And I think I'm going to use my tweezers here. Just a tiny bit of glue. And then at the end, we'll add a little sparkle to her eyes. And then for the nose, I've cut a little triangle, and I use the Heart Punch to do that as well. Let me get a piece of pumpkin pie. And I took 3/4 inch piece. So I'm going to turn this into 3/4 inches. We'll go ahead and cut that off. This is just a little scrap I had. And I stuck it in this end instead of this end from the back side. Found the center of that 3/4 inch strip. And then that creates your little triangle. And then I'm just going to cut it off right there where those edges are. And that is how I made the nose, or the beak. Now, you could just cut a triangle just as easily, but that's how I did that. Now, for her little webbed feet, I did the same thing. I took a 3/4 inch strip, and I tucked it down in this punch a little bit farther, because we're not going to cut it off like we did the beak. We're going to tuck it in a little farther. That's probably about 3/4 inches as well. And there is your little webbed feet. And I just glued those on the edges of the circle. So that's how I did those. but you could use a punch or a die or your imagination to, or just hand cut them. It wouldn't be that hard. I just had it, so I used it. Okay, I'm going to put her little beak right there. And then we will glue on her little feet. When I'm dealing with these tiny pieces, I really like to use my tweezers. And I just kind of did this on the edge here so it lined up with the corner of the box. We probably should have trimmed off the bottom here first. You can see how it's coming together. Then I just used a handheld circle punch, just a paper puncher, for these little buttons out of a scrap of basic white. And there was enough room for 2. I punched 3, but there's really not enough room for 3. So I just did the 2. I'm going to get that in the middle. Got a little bit too much glue. I'm going to try and scrape some off, but like I said, this will dry clear. No worries. Okay. So we're almost done. She's coming together. So this, you can either just take some scissors and cut that off, or you could take a, I'm going to use a straight blade. What do you call these things? X-Acto knife. That's what I'm doing. And then I have this little rubber mat that I use. It's old, but you could use a piece of cardboard. Or like I said, just use your scissors and cut that excess off. But if you're picky like me, there we go. So we cut that off the bottom, just the little part of the frame. All right. We're gonna do her eyes, and I just used a, let's see, did I put it in my bucket over here, my bucket of fun? I'm using some Real Red ribbon. This comes in a combo pack with Garden Green ribbon that I've used in several of my projects. And I have a Sharpie chalk marker, just a white, I don't even know if it's chalk marker, it's just a white marker. Paint marker, and I'm going to test it out before I make sure I shook it enough. So I'm just going to put a little dot and then a little doop and a little dot, little doot, and that gives her eyes a little sparkle. It's kind of fun. And then we'll just tie a ribbon or a bow. Oh, we got to do our handle. This is so easy and so cute. These would be cute, like I said, for gift cards, coworker. Stick a coffee card in there. Oh my goodness. Why do I have such a time with my bows? My hands are so dry. Try this again. If I cut it off, it would be easier, but I don't like to do that because I only like to use as much ribbon as I need. There we go. Get that a tight little tug. I don't want the bow to overpower her. Oh, that's perfect. Get my ribbon scissors here. I always do this backwards. For some reason, it needs to go this way. I don't know why. I have dyslexia when it comes to figuring that out. Okay. And then I like to use a little glue dot or two for that, but I think one will be enough. We're going to stick that right up there. Isn't that cute? Okay, and then for the handle, I use just a half of inch by, I think, 8.5, half inch by 8.5. And you can curl that a little bit with your bone folder so it curls. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that tear and tape to adhere these to the inside of the box. Now, if you were going to put something really heavy in here, which it's not really big enough to that would be a worry, you might want to use a brad. There we go. And then I just put some filler in there. But that is the penguin box. So that is week number 8 of the 12 weeks of Christmas. I hope you guys are enjoying the projects. Comment, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you don't like it, you don't have to let me know. Anyways, make sure you do sign up for the list, and the link will be down in the description of the video below, and you will receive, you can download and print these out if you'd like. Keep a library of those full color PDFs for your personal use. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I will see you next week for week number 9 of 12 Weeks of Christmas. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.